Alright, now that we've got the hood open, we're going to kind of move left to right and just check everything as we go. So this battery is not loose. There's no issues with the battery. Looks like the terminals are good. They're not corroded. These posts are not loose. They're tight on there. The wires don't look worn, and they also are not in the way of any moving parts in the van. You'll also want to mention, they may make, I don't think they'll make you check it on site, but you'll want to take these and take them off to check the water on the inside of the battery. You may want to point out the expiration sticker, which is on the side here. This is a brand new battery at the time of this recording. And then we've kind of moved backwards. We've got your windshield wiper fluid, which there's no real way to check the level on that because the reservoir is underneath the battery. So we'll just keep up on that and make sure that it stays full. You may want to just kind of look back here and say, you know, because you can kind of see it, that it looks good. And then you want to make sure that these caps are on tight. This is our transmission fluid. Transmission fluid, you want to check it when it's hot. So if you pull up and the van's been sitting for a while, you don't really want to check that. Just tell them you want to check that when it's hot, after the axles have had time to spin a little bit. And then next off, you want to check your air filter, which you'll pop this off and remove this whole thing if they want to do that. I'm not sure if they will or not, but you'll take this whole thing off. You'll check the air filter to say so the engine can breathe. And then behind this, you'll get a better view of the air compressor, which is right here. This is the dark pulley right here, and also the alternator, which is the shiny. That's brand new alternator. You want to check and just tell them, hey, it's bolted down. They're secure in their places by at least 3 bolts. You also want to check the pulley. The pulley in there, the pulley needs to have no more than 3/4 inch give on it. You want to check the underside to make sure that it's not frayed or worn or any damage like that, and that the overall condition looks good. Okay, and so you'll put all that back together if they want you to remove it. But since you can see the air compressor and the alternator from this position, they may not make you do it. So we'll continue on. Next up, you'll have your power steering fluid right here. This is your brake fluid. This is labeled. Most of this is labeled. This is not labeled. It is the brake fluid reservoir, and it's got a max fill line right here. You want to check that and make sure that it's full and it's clear, so you can see how much is actually in there, and it's good to go. And then over here you've got your coolant, which you don't want to remove this when it's hot, super hot. And it may boil out and scald your hand, which is not good. But we do have water in this reservoir, and that looks good. You want to tell them that the clamps are securely fastened, the hoses are not worn or show any visible signs of leaks. You also want to check your radiator hoses here. The clamps are secure. The hose looks like it's in good shape, no visible signs of leak. And then if you follow this hose, it takes it down to the water pump, and you can kind of see in there. You don't really want to reach in there because it's really hot, but you want to say that the hose looks good down there and that the clamp looks secure and there's no visible signs of leaks. And then you want to kind of wrap it up with the hood hinges, that the hinges look good, they're not rusted, they're not loose in any way, so no danger of the hood coming loose during operation of the vehicle. But that will complete the underhood evaluation there. Everything looks good. Now when you check these, I missed the engine oil. I'm sorry, I missed the engine oil here. You want to pull that out. You want to have some paper towel handy. You'll wipe off the end because that's a false reading. You'll put it back in, pull it back out, and check to make sure that the oil is within the cross-hatched area. If it's below that, you want to add more oil, and it shouldn't have more. You don't usually find engines with more oil than they need. But that's where the oil is. You'll just pull that out. The transmission fluid, when the engine's hot, you'll check that. It's got a little white little dowel on it, about that big, that looks just like the oil, and you'll check to make sure that there's transmission fluid within the normal range of that. So other than that, we will close the hood and we'll begin our walk around So when you close that, you want to just kind of pull up on it, make sure that it's intact and good to go. All right, so now we'll continue on with the rest of the bus check to make sure that everything is proper. So when you get to the tires, you want to make sure you have two things ready. One of them is a penny, and the other one is this tire rod here. Because most people check it by kicking it, they won't give you credit for that. So you want to check the inflation by kind of striking the end. You want to strike the edge, the sidewall of that tire. And not only checking the inflation of that, you're checking the seal of the tire on the rim. You want to make sure that that seal is good. You don't see any wear on the sidewall or beading. They may ask you to remove this hubcap so that you can check the lug nuts. But because of this plate, I know that all the lug nuts are on there and secure. You want to check for visible signs of rust, because that could be a loose nut or bolt. You want to double check that. You also want to check your air stem, that it's not missing, broken, or leaking in any way, which we have air pressure, so it's not missing, which is good. You also want to check the tread depth with the penny. The very top of Lincoln's head is 2/32 of an inch, and to go to his forehead is 4/32, which the front of the bus needs 4/32 of tread, and this is, you know, it's got his whole head in there, so he's good to go. You want to double check that these treads are worn evenly and that there's no visible signs of anything that may be dangerous, which this tire looks brand new. It's still got the little tassel things on it, so it's still in really good shape. And then moving past the tire, this is a coil spring suspension. You want to say that spring does not look warped in any way. It still looks like it's really good. And you also want to get kind of behind here, behind this tire, and check the rotors and brake pads, that there's no visible signs of wear. There's no leaking from brake fluid, no things that, everything looks secure, which everything really does look good. And you'll want to say that about each tire, that you're checking that just to double check to make sure. Okay, so we'll keep going around the bus. You want to check this mirror. You want to make sure that this mirror is not cracked or damaged or loose in any way. Looks good. You want to check this running board. Any exterior accessories that are on here, you want to make sure that they are securely fastened and that they're not damaged in any way. Also the rim, you want to make sure that the rims don't have any illegal welds or modifications, because that you would have to immediately replace the tire. It won't pass. You know, we've got this mud flap here, that's in good shape, securely fastened. And then continuing on, you want to check all your glass. You want to make sure that it's clear, there's no illegal stickers. All your glass is looking good. Visibly the bus still looks acceptable. And then we'll keep going to this tire, which you'll want to check. This is a double tire, which just means that it's got the same things you want to check for on the front tire, but you want to make sure to mention that these are the same size, same radials, so they're not mismatched at all or any danger there. And of course you want to check the tread. You'll get your penny and check the tread on both of these. You'll want to hit these with the hammer to ensure the inflation and that they're sealed on the where the tire meets the rims, and the rims have no illegal welds or modifications there. And then moving back to the back behind these rear tires, instead of the spring coil suspension, we've got a leaf suspension. There's 10 leafs, and the ratio there of acceptable breakage is you can't have more than 2 of those broken, which is 1/4. You can't have more than 2 of those leaves broken, or you need to get that serviced and they won't pass. So you also want to, they won't make you crawl underneath the bus, but you'll say that you'll check the brake pads and all that stuff behind the tire, which you can't really see those from here, but you'll want to check those to make sure that there are no leaks or issues that you can tell. You also want to check this mud flap here, make sure it's secure to the bus and that it's not going to come flying off during operation. Okay, and then we want to check that that light. That light looks good. There's no visible signs of damage on that. You want to check your gas cap, as well as, they may not make you do this, but you want to check underneath and make sure that the gas hose to the tank looks good. The hose clamps are in place. There's no visible signs of leaking or damage, which all of that looks really nice. And the gas tank doesn't have any visible signs of damage or leaking or anything like that. Okay, so we'll keep going. We've got our red reflector back here, which red is in the back, amber is in the front, just to double check that. We've also got lights up top. Those lights look good, there's no damage. Then lights back here, all those lights look good, there's no damage to that. Overall, cosmetically, there's no visible signs of any safety hazards. Back here, you want to check your license plate. There's no, it's secure and won't come flying off. That license plate light looks good. You also want to check this back bumper, kind of wiggle it and make sure it's secure and that it won't come off or cause any safety hazard. Now this is kind of specific. I don't know if they'll ask for that, but you want to just wiggle that, make sure that it's not loose or anything like that. Okay, and then we also got, you want to check your muffler. Now this may be really hot. It's that time to cool down, so it's not hot anymore. But you want to check underneath here and make sure that there's at least 4 points of contact securing this tailpipe to the frame of the vehicle. I can see 3 from here, but I'm sure there's 1 above where I can see. But you just want to check that, make sure it's not loose or dangly or dangerous in any way. And while you're back here, you want to just kind of tug on this door. This outside handle is broken. You can't open this handle from the outside, but it's perfect working order on the inside. So I wouldn't draw attention to that necessarily until we can get that fixed. Just say that it's secure and that it's closed, and that. So, and we've got both rear reflectors here, red, intact, and doing their job, reflecting. And then we've got our little orange light back here. Same thing with these back ones. You want to hit them. You want to make sure you hit all the tires to check the seals. You want to say stuff about sidewalls. And we may get this fixed really quickly because it is sidewall damage. It kind of affects the integrity of the tire. But you want to point that out and say that you would get that looked at and recorded into the busing log. We also have a mud flap. You want to make sure that that's secure. Same thing goes, same tread depth, or not saying, drop the phone. We've got a acceptable tread depth, which is 2/32 of an inch. Back here, same tires, same radial, so they are not mismatched tires in any way. You want to check the leaf springs, which are back there. You can see those, no more than 2. There is 10 leaf springs on this side as well. As well as you want to check your air hose. And if they ask you, this is the rear air hose thing, and then our rear air hose stem, not thing. And then there's another one which I don't see. You may have to look for it if they specifically ask for you. But oh, there it is. It's in that hole right there. There's an there's an air hose stem for the outer tire. This is the inner tire, and that's the outer tire. Okay. But other than that, let's see. We got windows. All the windows look good and intact. The doors are closed. There's no damage visibly. They're sealed. They look good. And then finally, you want to finish up with this tire, checking the air stem, sidewalls, making sure that all the lug nuts are there, no visible signs of rust. We've got a mud flap there that's still in good shape. Let's see, you want to check that spring coil in there, as well as the brakes and rotors and all that stuff. But that looks good, and then we'll wrap it up with this mirror, which is not broken or loose or damaged in any way. So that completes the outer portion. This video got kind of long, so we'll do the inner portion on a separate video.